Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the PlayVis podcast. Today I am joined with our special guest, Matt Parsons, former head coach of the NBL1 West men's team at Perry Lakes Hawks. Matt, what is your perspective on the parent-coach-athlete dynamic?
Hey Jess, well thanks for having me, mate. It's great to be on your pod. Look, it's a great question, and I think there's probably no perfect science around how that dynamic looks. Obviously, it's kind of like it's a bit of a what can you do for me sort of world that we're living in at the moment, particularly with our parents and the kids that are trying to make it into what we call representative basketball here in WA. I guess it's the top tier is our Wobble program. I mean, we know what the men's program and women's program is with NBL1, but in regards to, the best kids in the state playing in the best competition, it's the West Australian Basketball League. And, it is an aspirational league. So the reality is we've got a whole bunch of parents who want their kids to be in that level. There's a whole bunch of kids who want to be in that level. And I think we just have to be okay with a lot of the process actually not making it. It is okay to not make it. I think it's okay to continuously try and aspire to getting there. And once you're getting there, obviously the work starts again and you've got to reset your goals and reset your plans. But for the most part, it's probably just maybe normalizing the fact that it's okay not to make wobble and go from there.
Yep. And what do you think the most important skill to learn for basketball is?
Well, this is an easy one, and it's probably something you've heard 1,000 times, Jess. It's something that you know, there's probably not enough kids take stock or enough parents who take stock in it. It's actually the fact that you don't have to be the most talented athlete when you step foot on a trial court or a training session or anything where you're representing yourself. It's about attitude. And it's the effort you put in. It's the communication piece. Like if you're a parent listening to this pod and you want to give your kid the best opportunity and chance to make it at wobble level, it's about the preparation without the skill. It's okay when you get to the training session, go and shake their hands, go and ask the coaches, what is it you want from me today, or what is it that we're looking for? And sometimes it's probably the preparation before the trial itself. It's contacting the club and asking what their framework of development is. What are they looking for from a style of play perspective? Do they have a skills curriculum? Like what function does that sit by? And all clubs should have that, and that's probably something where Basketball Western Australia is probably better positioned today than they've been in the past. But it's the kids that don't necessarily have the skill who bring effort across the board, and probably the one skill that takes no effort but just takes a little bit of desire is talk and communication. And I think the kids that I've certainly gone through trials, with my own kids, or whether I've hosted trials, whether it be men's or even at Wobble competition, and most recently with Binnar and their Wobble trials, it's actually the kids who communicate the most and sacrifice their game for others. And all of those things don't take talent. They just take application, and those kids tend to go through and tend to really stamp themselves, really early to part, and that doesn't even, matter what skill level they bring to it. It's purely just, it's an intangible that's very rare at the moment.
Yeah. And what do you think is the most misunderstood aspect of basketball skills training?
Yeah, look, I actually think it's the work you put in. Like, it's the self-evaluation piece almost. Like, I love it when we talk about these training sessions, but it's a kid knowing what they bring and stepping foot on the floor. So building a routine prior to training, knowing what those 3 or 4 things that you're going to bring every time you step foot on the floor, that preparation piece, and knowing that that's who you are, and you've kind of now built this, not a role for yourself, but you understand what value you're bringing to the team or to the trial or to the whatever function that it is, even if it's a domestic competition or a domestic training. Like, if you are becoming that person and you become a person in that role or in that personality, that's your battle. That's half the battle.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Building a routine and having a program that you need from a self-evaluation point, absolutely key to developing your game. Now, I know it's been a big year for you. I've seen recently Binnar have announced some big things. What's it been like? What's your involvement with Binnar, and how's that looking for the future?
Yeah, it's been remarkable. I've been with Binnar for what is 14 months now. Binnar, just to take you quickly through the journey, Jesse, it's been a club that started with just a group of friends that Adam Desmond, who the founder of Binnar is, started 14 years ago, and it's just grown and grown and grown. It's grown regionally. It's grown in the metropolitan area. We've seen, Binnar being involved in many of like the non-wobble participated events, things like NAIDOC Week and and even state champs for the last, 5 or 6 years. But in the last 14 months, we've set a target to come on, and I've come on as a consultant, kind of in that head of development space at Binar. Over the last, us last 12 months, we've applied for our wobble license. We've received our wobble license. It's been a great win for us. We for the first time entered state champs as a up and coming wobble team, and we've just completed our wobble trials for the first time ever. So it's been a remarkable process. We've seen some pretty cool stuff. We've seen 2 teams qualify directly into the championships next year. We saw an under 14s team, led by some super talented players. We had 1 wobble player previously with 9 non-wobble kids. And it just goes to show how much talent is in WA. And when I refer that back to the beginning statement I made around, wobble not necessarily being the be-all and end-all, an opportunity when given, doing the right things, you can go on and do some remarkable stuff. So for that under 14 boys team to qualify directly into champs with 1 wobble player previously is just testament to how much good basketball players there are out there, and especially in the Swan region. But we're probably walking into grading, which is in March, probably with about 4 or 5 teams, a realistic chance to make champs. We feel like we're better positioned than previous clubs and associations that have entered with the level of talent that we have, which it's just a super exciting place, Jess. And, Binar is a First Nations owned and operated Indigenous basketball club. It's the first of its kind in Australia. These kids are some of the most remarkable athletes. They play on instinct. They play fast. They're selfless. The ball moves. They impress you every day. I've been involved in NBL one level for it'd be 30 years now where I've been a player or a coach. And I remember my first time walking into Binar and then watching these Indigenous athletes, and I, for the first time, walked away actually shocked by something. You're so exposed to things at times. If someone makes a big dunk at NBL one level, it's like, okay, I've seen a couple of them now. It kind of wears off a little bit. But when you see a little 7-year-old or an 8-year-old dribble between the legs, go behind the back, and drive between 3 or 4, taller guys and finish, you just go, wow, and your jaw's on the ground a little bit. And I think that fills your cup up a bit. It kind of wants you to see a little bit more and more and more. And the more you expose yourself to not just Indigenous basketball, but it's just youth basketball in general, and making that switch from men's to juniors has just been a very rewarding process for me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I remember going up against Binar in some local domestic competitions and whatnot. Is always a tough matchup. They're just so agile, and they do play off instinct really well.
Something to be said too for those coaches who are listening at home. Like, we pigeonhole players very often. As coaches, we can really overcomplicate the simple. It's sometimes it's structure. And I had some success at NBL one level, having a team that was very much built on structure. But I reckon if I had my time again, and maybe again in the future that will present, but I reckon I'm really going to try and tap into that instinctual part and just letting the kids play to their strengths. I think if you're put in a position to succeed with your greatest skill, well, there's only one thing's going to come from that. As long as you're working on those weaknesses, especially as a team, and trying to build behind the ball, it allows that freedom of flow of the game to some of these athletes. So instincts is the number one thing. Let your players play on instinct.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. Thank you, Matt, for coming on and joining us on the PlayVis podcast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Jess.